like we said before, NIL, which stands for name, image, and likeness, is ruining college football because, in their minds, hey, we have all these collegiate athletes that make the money. These are our money makers. So realistically, they should be getting a cut of the money they bring in. And so now all these high school recruits are coming in. They're saying, hey, we're going to pay you X amount of money. And if you come and play for our college, well, let's pull out an article that you sent me talking about one of these things that, and we're going to have our opinions on it. So there's a certain quarterback named Jaden Rashada, and he plays for. Does he play for Arizona State now, Nate? Doesn't he?
Yes.
Yes, he does. Okay. And I mean, if you wanna kind of preface on this, you can. I was just gonna go ahead and start
Go
off.
ahead, no, go ahead. I mean, when I got the article today from Robbie, I'm like, this was the main thing I think we were afraid of when we started to accept the whole idea of NIL deals, name, image, and likeness, because it was going to have a drastic effect on the game and the landscape of college football.
Well, me being in college, I have a specific. Okay, he transferred to Georgia. That's how Robbie knows about it. Probably. I saw that graphic. I didn't know if it was real or not. But me being in college, I have kind of a different viewpoint on it because I'll get to it whenever I kind of tell the story. So Jaden Rashada, going out of high school, he said, "Hey, I'm going to commit to the University of Miami." They offered him $9.5 million for in the span of 4 years to go and play quarterback. Not he probably wouldn't start his first year. They probably would have had him bench sitting behind somebody and learning a couple of years, which is what football should be. You shouldn't, and especially in college, coming out of high school, you shouldn't automatically just be put into the system unless you're that good. Um, I mean, we see in the NFL, unless you're a number one overall pick or a first round draft pick, chances are you're not really going to start the first time you walk in that building. So, taking that into consideration, this guy says, "Hey, I'm going to play for Miami. They're going to offer me $9.5 million. Let's do it." So he goes in and he says that's his commitment. He's committing to Miami. Well, Florida comes in and a bunch of boosters, all these guys come in. They say, "Hey, we're going to offer you a little over 13 million. So it's 13.85 million to come and play for the University of Florida. If you just decommit from Miami and go ahead and go play for Florida, which I have a problem with. If you commit to a college, that should be you should go because look, our word is our bond as
Mm.
men. And when we commit to something, we need to do it. So whenever in Coach Prime says it best over there in Colorado, you have guys that can't even commit to their girlfriends. How are they going to commit to a college? Which is hilarious to me. He said that he's got so many funny quotes, but I believe him. Like this is a in all this, although he did do wrong, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. I feel like the amount of unloyal athletes we have now because of NIL that just want to chase money says a lot about the character of the person. And although he can make $9.5 million in Miami, which is a whole lot of money, more money than me or you are making in college, he still chooses, hey, I can make over $4 more million if I go to Florida. And this is where the issue happened. He goes to Florida, never gets a single dime of money after he signs his letter of intent. He had a $500,000 signing bonus. Didn't get that. Said, hey, we're going to give $1 million to your father. We're going to give him a job. Never happened. And now the boosters and Billy Napier, right? That's how you pronounce his last name.
Napier, yeah,
Yeah.
Napier.
And they said, hey, this is what's going to happen. You're going to come play for us. We're going to offer you 13.85 million in the span of 4 years, and you're going to enjoy it here. And it just never happened. So now Rashada is suing the University of Florida, not the Athletic Association, but he's specifically suing Billy Napier, and we're gonna see what that happens. Nate, what do you think about it? I kind of want to talk more about loyalty when you get into it because I feel like that's a big issue on NIL. But let me hear it, Nate.
We this is what this is what was coming down to. Nick Saban has said it before. When you want the college players to get paid, yes, we do, because the amount of revenue that they bring into these universities um, is just crazy. You want these players to get paid, but then that's when we knew that it was going to take an effect and affect the actual landscape of the game, where young men, 18 years old, are now negotiating, contracts that they're playing professional ball. Now we're talking about a young man that went to the University of Miami first. Excuse me, that committed to the University of Miami on the promise of attaining what, $9 million, nine and a half or nine
9.5 million.
$9.5 million. Okay, then he decommits there. Everything is all funny. That's the notion. But then here comes Florida. What they sweeten the deal and say, hey, we'll give you an extra $4 million if you come here and play. That's the bargaining chip right there. Where these young men, they're not going there with the idea of, okay, I'm going to a prestigious university where I'm going to get me a great education for free. I'm going to have the opportunity to do something that I love, compete at the highest level in front of hundreds of thousands of fans, build relationships, travel the world, do all these things. They're seeing as if, again, nah, this is the business aspect of it. And when you think about the money side of it, we're losing the, in my opinion, we're losing the authenticity of sports. We're losing the purity of the game and the purity of competition. Where again, 18-year-olds are like, okay, yeah, I'm. It's like they're looking for what? How much are you gonna pay me to come here? You know, when I played, we didn't have the NIL. No, you went to a university and you committed. When you make that commitment, you went there and you committed to the coach and what the coach believed, the philosophy of the team, the school, the camaraderie of the players, and the brotherhood of the players and the team. That you don't have that. You know how they say chivalry is dead. They say that chivalry is dead, but the game in itself the love for it and the passion for it is starting to dwindle out because everybody is looking for, okay, what you gonna do for me now? There's nothing wrong with you wanting to get your money and be able to take care of your family, but there needs to be a cap on this NIL. They need to figure out how to do it because young men are thinking, again, he was just told he was going to get $13 million to come there. He hasn't got a dime of that. He was promised his father $1 million, a job, all these things and whatnot. Now, if you make that promise, it's a double-edged sword because just like these players need to stick to their commitments and whatnot, you commit to them, you need to honor your commitment. These boosters and whatnot, you committed yourself to saying that this young man, you're going to pay him $13 million. You got to commit yourself to it. It's a stressful ordeal. So,
Well, let's talk about that because we can say, hey, this dude verbally committed to Miami, and these boosters gave him a verbal commitment of the money they were promising him to come to play at Florida. And it just shows you, honestly, karma is bad. Like, um, we have, and although he did sign his letter of intent to Florida on National Signing Day, he signed his letter of intent. Loyalty is it makes loyalty that much of a factor when finding players now, especially in the recruiting process. Someone like Zay Flowers, who was highly sought after in the first round as a wide receiver because of his loyalty. NIL was just coming out and he said, hey, I'm going to continue to play for Boston College, even though they won about 3 games his last year over there. He said, I'm going to still play for that because that is where loyalty is where it's held. And we could say like, hey, it just bit you in the butt, Jaden. Although I do not agree with what Florida is doing right now. The loyalty aspect of these players is not there anymore. And it's because NIL is ruining this. I mean, my dad came in here earlier before we started the show, and you heard him. He was like, if you give an 18-year-old, 19-year-old X amount of money in the millions, they are not going to know what to do with it,
Oh,
especially when these guys have a kind of a. I mean, we know the upbringing of some of these athletes coming from nothing, most of the time, and using their athletic abilities to make something of themselves. They have all this money and they just don't know what to do with it because they've never seen it before in their life. They've never been conditioned to do anything with the money, so it's all spent on the wrong things. And so I feel like this is a problem. I mean, I've said it before. NIL, like the way it was opened, is almost like helicopter parents with their child. And I don't agree with helicopter parenting either. I mean, you don't let your child do anything. You keep them in the books, and although there's some parents out there that helicopter parent, now, my parents did not. Um, you're saying, hey, once that person goes to college, you have them locked up in your house in high school, throughout high school, not letting them venture out and fend for themselves, do what they need to. They're gonna go wild whenever the chance
mhm.
approaches them. And
Yeah.
this is exactly what's happening with NIL. It is just now going wild because
Hmm.
it was just helicopter parented for
Right.
all these years. And now, finally, when the door opens all the way, we finally see the wildness that is happening in college.
Hmm. Hey, you spot on. You spot on. It's scary because I don't know how they can fix it. I'm sorry, but I don't know if they can fix this. They open Pandora's box.
Exactly. I mean, you give me a portion of food every time I come into your restaurant. I'm going to expect that portion every time I'm coming in. If
Yep.
you give me anything smaller, I'm going to say, "Hey, why is this? I get this amount every time I come in and now you're giving me
Yep.
less?"
Yep.
And it just goes to show, hey, we've expected all of this the entire time we've been in college, and now you're trying to change it. And a lot of players are gonna disagree with this because I mean, we kind of see it in the NFL, especially with the running back market. These running backs are getting less than they were before. This running back market is almost deflated, but everything else has also shot up. So it's like the money can never go back. Once you promised him, hey, you give Joe Burrow $260 million guaranteed, you're going to have to keep giving that to quarterbacks, either match it or give them more in the years to come if they're worth it. And that just shows you just how, man, just how evil money can be in this world.
Hmm.
I mean, greed, and I'm not going to lie. Me being in college, $9 million sounds really, really good.
Yes, it does.
But I'm gonna say a lot of that's not gonna be spent. I'm gonna promise that. A lot of it's not gonna be spent. A lot of it's going to save somewhere. Because everything I've done for my high school and my college, because of my mentality, has been I need to make sure my future is intact when I get there. Anything I do now, if
Hmm.
I spend all my money and I'm not able to go to a college or afford a good college or do this, and this, that's gonna be on me. I've been given, and although we've all not had the same path as everybody. I've been given the keys to success. The stones have been laid out in front of me. If I fail, it's not going to be on anybody but me. So a lot of these players have to take an accountability like, hey, if I mess up, if I spend all my NIL money, it ain't going to be my mama. It ain't going to be my daddy who was offered $1 million. It's going to be me. Although I gave a verbal commitment to go play in Miami for $9.5 million. These guys also gave me a verbal commitment to pay me X amount of dollars in Florida. That's just life, man. Karma got you good, but well, I mean, what's in store for Florida? What's in store for? Do we see Rashada winning this case? What do you see, Nate?
Um, Nothing was signed on the dotted line. We talking about a verbal agreement. We're talking about a verbal. If I'm not mistaken, Robbie, tell me, Robbie, if you can hear me. More explanation. We're talking about a verbal agreement between the booster and the player. There's nothing written, a contract written. Now, a contract is binding. A contract is binding. If it's written in paper with both parties signing, then that's a binding agreement, and they have to pay. But if it's just a verbal, handshake deal, as we call it, there's no merit.
Okay, we can say this. Okay, I'm looking at it now. So although they verbally said, "Hey, we're going to give you 13 million, a little over 13 million, right?" Hathcock, which is one of the boosters, said, "I'm going to give you 5.35 million of that 13 with a $500,000 signing bonus with his company called Velocity Automotive if you sign now." So he was and is apparently in this contract, 5 million of it is stated, 500,000 of it is stated, but the whole $13 million, I don't know, Nate. I don't know if he's getting all that
I
money.
don't think you're getting all that. I
He
don't think you're getting
said,
all that. There was not an actual contract. Nope. No. So
no, there
again,
wasn't.
this is word. This is a handshake deal. No, there was no papers drawn up or anything. No contract. No. So you're not gonna get it.
But it does say that Hathcock did wire $150,000 to Rashada. And this is the only money Rashada has ever received from Florida. Is $150,000 that the booster gave him.
Oh, wow.
Which, shoot, if I had $150,000, hold up. That's life changing money to me. That's life changing money. Literally life changing. I might spend a lot of it though, trying to get stuff settled. But it would be very, very educated financial decisions.
Yeah.
Nothing would be spent loosely. I don't know. I mean,
Now he really doesn't have a case because we're talking about word. We're talking about word. There's no contract. There's no contract where things again, no contract where things are set in stone. We'll pay you X amount of dollars. There's no agreement. We're just talking word of mouth.
So this this lawsuit was filed in the state of Florida. It ain't going past the state of Florida. Was it in the state of? It ain't going past the state of Florida. Yeah. Oh wait, no, the Northern District of Florida. It ain't going past the Northern District of Florida. It ain't going past whatever you put that lawsuit in. It's going to stay in the northern region of Florida. It ain't going bigger. It might just go smaller. And then Rashada, dude, you should have just took Miami's deal with 9.5 million, and you would have been sitting pretty right now. But now you at Georgia, you're gonna sit behind people a couple years. Might not even play. You're gonna end up like Kelly Bryant, whatever his face is, from Clemson, transferred to Vandy. And you probably gonna transfer when you get out of Georgia. I'm sorry, brother, but man, you should just made a. My dad said verbal in some states is just as strong as a written contract, but legally, that's not.
Legally, pops, is it legally?
There's no weight to it. I mean,
this is going to be interesting because now the whole dynamic of the NIL and the college landscape is about to change drastically because we got our first problem. We have our first problem.
Oh yeah.
Somebody get paid what they were quote unquote promised. Now we're gonna see how it handles because now we're gonna have to there's gonna have to be rules and regulations and guidelines for these name, image, and likeness deals.